What's going on, Falcon fan? It's your boy Ricondo coming back at you with another video. And today we're going to talk about the 2024 NFL schedule. It has been released, and I can say that the Falcons come right out the gate. They got to be come out swinging because they have a pretty good schedule to start the season, guys. Um, this is really going to be exciting. I can't wait for how this season going to pour out. Atlanta Falcons had no primetime games last year. End up with 4 primetime games this year. Um, that is amazing. Um, I just love the way they put out the schedule. In the NFL, don't disappoint you to start the season off against those Pittsburgh Steelers. Arthur Smith coming right back to the Mercedes-Benz Stadium against his former team as the offensive coordinator for the Pittsburgh Steelers. Cardell Patterson going to be there. Van Jefferson, you know, Michael Pruitt, all the guys that was on this team last year coming back for a homecoming for Arthur Smith, trying to get him that week 1 win against our Atlanta Falcons. We're going to dive into this schedule, but I'm really excited about it. I'm not going to do any predictions right now because the schedule just came out. Ain't had time to look at it and kind of give predictions and things like that. But we're going to break it down each game, talk about it, and we're going to talk about NFC South. How we can fit within that in that division as well. Give us a chance to get into the playoffs, what should be our goal this year from this team. Also, we could definitely going to talk about we finally got our 90th man for the roster. Now the Atlanta Falcons have a complete roster, so we're going to about all that today. So, guys, with that being said, if you have not already, go ahead and please subscribe to the channel. Please hit that notification bell so you know when I drop another video. Please hit the like button so I know you guys like to hear what I talk about. Then please share my video throughout the YouTube universe so more people can come in here and talk about these Atlanta Falcons. So, guys, right into it. Before we get into the schedule, real quick, the Atlanta Falcons have added to that last roster spot. Remember, they had 89 people already on the roster, but the Atlanta Falcons added day cornerback Anthony Johnson, undrafted free agent, a guy who, you know, actually was undrafted last season in 2023. He spent time with the Packers and the New Orleans Saints, cornerback, but never actually, made it to the squad. So bringing in a 90-man roster, we can say that the Atlanta Falcons have addressed the cornerback position, added depth to that. None of those guys that go out and compete. It also means that Atlanta Falcons really, you know, kind of like what they had in the room already because they didn't go out and sign a big name free agent at that spot. They signed the guys that they want to come out to be depth pieces. So we'll just have to see how this cornerback room, turns out on the other side of AJ Terrell for that cornerback 2 position. But looking at a guy like Anthony Johnson, he had his best time in college with at the University of Virginia, the Cavaliers. He played 2 seasons there, 60 tackles, 17 pass attempts, and 5 interceptions. So another guy come in and compete for that position. Now the Atlanta Falcons have a 90-man roster. Doesn't mean it's going to stay like that. We know if you watch this regime under Terry Fontenot, they move and match players all throughout the offseason. So wouldn't be surprised if you start to see some guys get cut and picked up, throughout this offseason program. Atlanta Falcons will be back on the field tomorrow, OTAs. I think they have 12 more of those practices before they get into mandatory mini camp. So, guys, the season here, the schedules is out. You got to start, going out looking for games you want to go to. We definitely need to be in the stadium this year because you're looking at some of the opponents we play at home. They have a big fan base, so we definitely need to be out and support our team this year, so we can kind of keep, their home field advantage for our Atlanta Falcons. What's going on, EQ? What's going on, Paul? Right, you are 100% correct. This is a rough schedule. So let's get into it, guys. Week 1. So we're gonna break it down the way I like to do it, and I think a lot of coaches like to do it too. Is break the season up in quarters. Right, it used to be even number of games. Right, it used to be 16, now 17, but you still can break up. The quarters. We do have a bye. Atlanta Falcons bye this year is week 12, so we're gonna play 11 straight games before we get a bye. So um, really, really, tough schedule. But guys, the Atlanta Falcons come right out the gate playing the Pittsburgh Steelers, right? Right out the gate playing the Pittsburgh Steelers. We know all the storylines go by this. Pittsburgh is a really tough opponent, to come out. They're always well coached by Mike Tomlin. Physical team, we know. We need to be really stout in the trenches, especially when Arthur Smith being there trying to run the ball. We know what he's want to do from an offensive standpoint, but their defensive front is going to try to get up there. Our guys will with JJ Watt. So we need to be really really sound. We're gonna definitely get into talk about it and things like that. Once get to that point. But right now, the Atlanta Falcons really need to start preparing for this Pittsburgh Steelers. Hey, the NFL does not disappoint. First game out the shoot is to create a storyline. Week one, NFL, Arthur Smith coming back the whole offseason. He got to talk about coming back to play his former team, the Atlanta Falcons. And what other team know him better? What he likes to do? We all know what he's going to do. You already see the pieces they don't brought in from a tight end, a lot of 12 personnel. He want to run the ball down our throat, control the line of scrimmage, and the Atlanta Falcons need to be prepared for that. So week one, the Atlanta Falcons go out and play the Pittsburgh Steelers. Millie Mill says it's up for those teams, all those teams. Now I ain't worried about nothing. French Montana boy. They ain't worried about it. Hey man, I can tell you, man, I ain't gonna lie. After I saw the first, because they actually kind of leaked the first couple 4 games to start the season, week 5, and I was like, man, this is brutal. Just come right out the gate. But if we, the team that we think we are from Atlanta Falcons standpoint, we need to show the kind of team we are. So let's see what it's all about. So guys, week 2, right? Going over the first 4 games. Week 2, Atlanta Falcons play on Monday Night Football, right? Like I said, Atlanta Falcons had zero primetime games last year. They got 4 this year. In the first primetime game, we're gonna actually play in. It's gonna be Monday Night Football, week 2, going up to Philadelphia, playing the Philadelphia Eagles. Which is a really, really good team. Those guys started out 10-1 last season, going straight to the link to play those guys. They got Saquon Barkley there. They revamped their secondary. It's going to be a really, really tough game for us to go up there and play. But that's what it's all about. I think this first half of the season for Atlanta Falcons, we really going to test and see how good of a team we are this season, because coming right out of the gate, playing a physical team in Pittsburgh, coming back the next week, playing the going up to Philadelphia, playing the Philadelphia Eagles on Monday Night Football is right where we need to be tested. So those first 2 games right out, staying in Pennsylvania, Pittsburgh, Philadelphia, really, really 2 physical opponents that we got to play this season. So let's see, can we get that W? The first game, go to Monday Night Football and test and see what kind of teams we want to do. NFC opponent. So we need to be able to capitalize on our NFC wins, right? Especially you think about placements in the rankings and stuff like that when they start talking about playoffs. So we play an NFC opponent. We got to be able to play well against those guys to let those guys know what kind of team we're going to be this year. So the Atlanta Falcons definitely need to make a statement, guys. Week 3, back-to-back primetime games for the Atlanta Falcons, right? Just having Kirk Cousins on the squad obviously seemed like a lot of people expect the Atlanta Falcons to be pretty good this year by putting them in primetime games, especially in back-to-back weeks. And for this game, we actually get to play the Super Bowl champions back at home on Sunday Night Football. So only team, so 2 weeks back-to-back weeks, the Atlanta Falcons going to be, on TV by themselves nationally, Monday Night Football, Sunday Night Football, and we got to be able to deliver, guys. Like I said, this first 4 games kind of let us know where we stand as a team, guys. We playing some really good opponents, playoff caliber teams right off the bat. this is where we kind of make and kind of see what kind of team the Atlanta Falcons are going to be this year. You know, this don't make or break us, especially these first 4 games, but it's definitely going to tell us what kind of team we are. Pittsburgh, Monday Night Football against the Eagles, then come back a Sunday night game against the Chiefs. I ain't gonna lie, I'm really excited. Never seen Patrick Mahomes play in person. So we know that game is going to be live. It's a national game. You wonder if it's going to be all the hype with the Swifties and things like that. The Taylor Swift going to be at the game, so it's going to be live. I can't wait. I will be there in the stadium, so can't wait to see that game. But we coming back home to play the Kansas City Chiefs, and guys, this is a big game for the Chiefs because they start the season off against the Baltimore Ravens, then the Cincinnati Bengals. So depending on how their first 2 games go, this could be a big important game to start the season off for the Chiefs. So coming in, hopefully to a hostile environment against the Atlanta Falcons will be a good test for those guys. But we know it's definitely going to be a good test for us. So that's who we start off the 3 week, and then guys, that 4th week, yes, that fourth week, back-to-back home games, we play the New Orleans Saints, right? Our first division playoffs, first divisional opponent that we're going to actually have to play. So the Aints come to town that Sunday, September the 29th, the 4th game of the season. So right off the bat, guys, Steelers, Eagles, Chiefs, and the Aints. I mean, you can't say it any. It's no give me games for those first 4 games. Not one give me game, guys. It's a really good test for our Atlanta Falcons, and we're going to see how well this team is put together this year. We're going to see how quick Kirk Cousins can hit the ground running. Good thing to see veteran quarterback coming in. We're definitely going to break down each game each week so we can get more details. But guys, really, I want your opinions about the first 4 weeks of this season. The ultimate test game against Kansas City. Everybody, yep. EQ says, "Is it at Pitt? No, it's at home. So it's in our house. So that first game of the week, it's in Atlanta. So we got to be able to get that win at home. Start the season off at least 1-0. Racondo, rise up. That's right, man. Oh no, man, it's going to be bad. KC, yeah, we got three tough games, man. 3 tough games right off the bat. It's ridiculous. So you know, look around the league, guys. It's no easy. That's why you love NFL, because there's a lot of parity, right? Any given Sunday. So just don't look at your schedule and be like, oh my gosh, Atlanta Falcons could go 0-4 and things. No, we don't know. You're going off last year's teams and things like that. We have no idea, what this team. What I like about it is it's right out the bat to kind of get our, to create our identity right off the bat, guys. We kind of can figure out what kind of team this going to be. Hard fought games, first 4 right out the gate. So just like I said, the Steelers, the Eagles, the Chiefs, and the Aints. And honestly, for me, it's so hard to kind of predict those games. I need to wait. I probably wait closer to the season to do predictions this year, because I just don't know, what to think about our team right now. The potential is there on paper. This really, really good team, but we just got to see how it plays out. Got a new head coach, new defensive coordinator, new offensive coordinator. So it's just kind of hard to gauge how this team is going to play. On paper, they're really, 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 really good, especially on offensive side of the ball. Bringing in Kirk Cousins, all the offensive weapons we got. Two-headed monster in the backfield, great wide receivers. Kyle Pitts look like he's back 100% healthy. Offensive line 100% still intact. Probably the most the best offensive line with the most continuity in the league over the last couple seasons. So All that's good, but we just don't know. We got to wait to see, how this team comes together. So that's why right now I don't want to do any predictions. But those first four games, guys, are really, really going to be interesting to say the least for our team. All right. The interesting thing, right after we play um, the New Orleans Aints, right? Um, we come back Thursday night football. So 4 days off. So we come right back after they're playing the Aints Thursday night football, and we go to. No, actually, we actually played the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. So Tampa comes to town. So um, we actually got 3 games back to back at home, which is interesting for the Atlanta Falcons. 3 games back to back at home. So we have the Chiefs at home, the Saints at home, and then a Thursday night football game at home. So a three game home stretch. That's really important. Atlanta Falcons need to capitalize on those 3 home games. 100%. They definitely need to do that. Um, but we played Tampa Bay Buccaneers Thursday night football. 4 days after we played the New Orleans Aints, which we definitely know is going to be a physical game for us because that New Orleans Aints game is always that way. And it's a division game, so we need to be ready to go and be able to put our best foot forward to play those New Orleans Aints. But coming right back for week 5, playing the Tampa Bay Buccaneers on Thursday night football. Guys, that's 3 primetime games in the first 5 weeks of the season. 3 primetime games in the first 5 weeks of the season. So, like I said, from going from having 0 primetime games, not even a Thursday night football game last season, to have 3 in the first 5 weeks is is what the NFL and the schedule makers think about this Atlanta Falcon team this year coming into the season, being able to put a team that won 7 games 3 years in a row and 3 primetime games back to back weeks. I mean, 3 games in 5 weeks. So um, Atlanta Falcons going to be able to show the world who they are in the first 5 weeks of the season. I can tell you that much. So we definitely going to find out. Week 6, we stay in the division. We go up to Carolina and play the Carolina Panthers. So 3 division opponents back to back weeks. The Aints, the Buccaneers, and then we go up to Tampa to play the Panthers in week 6. Week 7, we come back home. We play the Seattle Seahawks. So Seattle Seahawks come to the Mercedes-Benz Stadiums. They haven't played Seattle in a couple of years. Last time we played them, we went up to Seattle, and we remember we pulled off a good win against that team. I think Grady Jarrett ended the game with a sack, and then maybe I think D. Alford might have got an interception. If I'm not mistaken, that's the game. So um, really good win for us. Of course, they got a new coaching staff up in Seattle, so that game is going to be interesting, along with the coaching staff at the Panthers as well. So back-to-back weeks, new coaching staff. We'll see how much improved Bryce Young has been in week 6. Then we'll see the new head coach and McDonald in Seattle. See how that team looks. Um, and then week 8, guys, 4 division opponents back to back week. So we go up to Tampa in week 8. So our first round of division opponents would be over in 8 weeks. So we'll be able to play all our division opponents in the first 8 weeks of the season, and they will all play those guys back to back weeks. So with the Seattle Seahawks in between the Bucks and the Panthers. So in the first 8 weeks, we play our division opponents. Those games are really going to be important, for the Atlanta Falcons to being able to win the division. So I can't wait to see. So there you have it, guys. The second quarter of the season, we already be able to play all our division opponents. We've been able to play the Kansas City Chiefs, the Pittsburgh Steelers, the Philadelphia Eagles, right? The Seattle Seahawks. Their first 8 weeks, guys, is really going to tell you what kind of team the Atlanta Falcons really is. So let's see what we got here. NFL gave Arthur Smith 3 years, an easy schedule. Coach Morris get. I know right off the bat, man. You can't even make it up, dog. This is brutal. I mean, but I want to say it's brutal, but then if you look at other teams' schedule, um, it's the same. It's just as brutal, right? I don't feel bad for us because, like I said, you look at the Kansas City Chiefs. They started the season off against the Ravens and the Bengals. Then they got to come to Atlanta, cross country and play us. So, you know, everybody's schedule is tough. It's just for us, it's going to be. Only reason I'm kind of a little nervous because I don't know what to expect from this team, man. This new offense coordinator, we got Kirk Cousins. We don't know how healthy he's going to be coming off the Achilles, right? Um, Defense, Jimmy Lake is the new defensive coordinator. Just don't know. That's where I stand at it. But I'm excited either way. We have 3 home games back to back, tough schedules for the out of towners. Yep, yep. You're 100% tough schedule. Thanks for reminding me. You are correct. 3 game home games back to back. But man, if we win in them, it'll be all well worth it. So I agree with you on that. Um, hey, we just need to play to kill the other side of high scoring and kill the defense. Hey, you're right. We need to score. That's what they brought Kirk Cousins in. We need to put points on the board, man. We need to be able to make a statement. This first 8 weeks of the season, in my opinion, the Atlanta Falcons 100% need to make a statement, right? They need to let the NFL know they're serious, and there's no other way to when you're looking at this schedule. Um, we 100% need to go 3-0 in our division during over that span, right? We need to be able to beat the Saints, the Bucks, and the Panthers. We need to go 3-0. I definitely think we can beat the Seattle Seahawks. So that's 4 wins right there in the first eight weeks, right there, right? That we should be able to get. We must get. Um, you mix in a couple of AFC opponents there with the Steelers and the Chiefs. I don't really care about AFC opponents. You want to be able to beat those guys, but the NFC, where you need to be able to capitalize, so that Monday Night Football game against the Eagles definitely going to be important as well. But the first 4 weeks, guys, 8 weeks, that's where we're at. Play all our division opponents at least once. Um, could say brutal schedule, but I think it's a let's see where you at schedule. This I think it's a statement schedule. Kind of see what kind of team this Atlanta Falcons really is this year. Let's see what you made of the first 8 weeks of the season. So that's what I believe. Michael said we have an easy schedule. Well, believe it or not, Michael, the NFC South has the easiest schedule in the league. Doesn't look like it, but yes, the NFC South has the easiest schedule league. And remember, the Atlanta Falcons have the third place schedule out of the division, right? Because they came in third last season. So yes, the Bucks and the Aints schedule should be even tougher than ours based off the records from last season. So if our schedule brutal, just theirs just as brutal. So um, don't feel too bad about it. 330 says our roster being shown respect from the NFL by the primetime games. Exactly. Especially if you do 3 primetime games in the first 5 weeks. It's just let you know that what they think about this Atlanta Falcon roster, right? And I think it's really funny that somebody mentioned they gave Arthur Smith all these easy schedule, all these easy schedule they gave Raheem Morris. So Raheem Morris need to make a statement right off the bat, man. This is huge. So definitely going to be interesting. Let's get into the third quarter here. Third quarter on week 9, the Atlanta Falcons host the Dallas Cowboys. Yes, the Cowboys come to town week 9. No, they fans is going to be out there. They travel really well, so the Cowboys come to town in week 9. The next 2 weeks, the Atlanta Falcons on the road, so this is where our road games start to kick in, right? Um, we go to New Orleans on week 10. So I think that's the 29th. Um, I don't. I got to look at. I'm not sure what week that is, but week 10 against the Aints. We go to New Orleans, and then right after that we go to Denver to play Sean Payton. So we play Sean Payton old team in week 10, and then week 11 we go to Denver. Um, Trying to figure out what month that is. Is that going to be a cold game for our Atlanta Falcons? That will be one of our first cold games that we're going to play. So week 10 of the season. Bear with me, guys. We can look at that. I definitely want to know. Week 10.
Yo, bro, we got to touch him.
Yeah, buddy. What else we got here? Millie Mill says our roster being shown respect. Yep, we talked about that. Millie Mill said Ira come there. Big Arthur Smith won't walk down on Coach Heem like that though. Oh, hell no. Talking about the way he did when they scored, like he did what's the name? Nah, he won't do that. But to Arthur Smith's defense, that was classless. It was classless. James Winston took it upon himself to do that. He did not have to do that. Um, so I understand why Arthur Smith did it. But yeah, I agree with you. I guarantee he won't do that to So that Aints game is going to be on November the 10th. November the 10th. That's when it's going to be. November 10th, November 17th. We'll actually play the Denver Broncos. And then the Atlanta Falcons will have their bye in week 12. So on week 9 through 12, we play the Cowboys at home, the Aints on the road, the Broncos on the road, back-to-back weeks, and then Atlanta Falcons finally get their bye. So like I said, Atlanta Falcons will play 11 straight games before they get their bye. 11 straight games. Um, right out the looking at it, that's pretty um, tough for the Atlanta Falcons to start off. So right off the bat, 11 straight games before they have a bye. So they will have a bye in week 12. So there you have it. One good thing about that, you come back from that bye and you go into playing the Los Angeles Chargers. So um, going into the last quarter of the season, we play the Chargers at home. Then we go back on the road for two more games. We play the Minnesota Vikings. Kirk Cousins, going back to team he's with last 6 weeks. By then, hopefully, definitely be able to find our rhythm. Kirk Cousins looking good. We'll see where the Vikings at. In the NFC could be a pretty good, big, important game for us. Then we go to Las Vegas, play the Las Vegas Raiders, in week 15. So that's going to be a late season game for the Atlanta Falcons. Um, we host the Giants on week 16. So the New York Giants come into the Mercedes-Benz Stadium on week 16. Then our last game of the season will be against the Washington Commanders in Washington. So there you have it, guys. The last 4 games of the season, 5 games of the season, will be the Chargers, the Vikings, the Raiders. Both of those games, the Vikings and Raiders on the road. We hosted the New York Giants on week 16, and then week 17, we go up to Washington and play the Commanders. It seems like we play the Commanders every year now. Seems like that's starting to be a tradition that we play every year. We start to play the Washington Commanders. So there you have it, guys. 17 games right off the bat. The most interesting thing about me is the way the season started off, where it kicks off. It kind of, get a little bit easier for the Atlanta Falcons towards the end of the season, in my opinion. But to start the season off is a big important test for the Atlanta Falcons. And I'm not gonna say it's a make or break, the way they start the season off, but it can tell you a lot about how this squad coming out because they're going to be battle tested right up front. I mean, starting in week one, it's going to be battle tested. So um, you have to break the season up like that because you don't want to try to look at all 17 games. Well, we know, from a coaching standpoint, player standpoint, they're looking at one game at a time anyway. I know they're looking at the schedule and see where everything lays out, but you have to look at it in quarters, right? These first four games, you know, Atlanta Falcons don't get a bye week 12, so they got to be able to, you know, to be in really good rhythm. Hopefully by then, find their stride. The interesting thing about it is what you don't like is the fact that the Atlanta Falcons got a new offensive coordinator, new defensive coordinator, new head coach, right? Um, One thing that you do like is Pittsburgh is going to have a new offensive coordinator, right? And Arthur Smith. So, and they got a new quarterback as well, trying to learn that system, right? Philadelphia, know, we don't know what their offense is going to look like, right? They got a new offensive coordinator as well. Um, we know exactly what the Chiefs all about, so no surprises there with those guys. And then we get into our divisional opponents the first week of this, the first um, 8 games of the season, right? So, guys, one thing what is really good about what the NFL really does really well, and why I believe, in my opinion, out of all the sports, American sports, um, it's NFL is king, right? Even today having this NFL release schedule day, it's like a holiday now, right? Because everybody sit down, they talk about it. You see us, a lot of us content creators, right on right now talking about it. NFL Network talking about it. So NFL is king, but what NFL really does really well is when how they create this it's the storyline, guys, and that's what I think um is really intriguing about this schedule, the way they put it out, right? Starting right off week one, right? Storyline, everybody gonna be talking about it. Arthur Smith gotta hear about the Atlanta Falcons until he plays us, on the 12th, right? He's gonna hear about it's 8th, I think. Yeah. Till he's gonna hear about this game all the way up till he plays there September 8th. So you can't there's no other way around it, right? They're gonna talk about the coach. We're gonna how he's going to fare. Going back to his own team. Is it a revenge game for him? Right, the players going to come out and play hard. Whatever. CP's coming back, right? Cordell Patterson is coming back. How he's going to be able to fare, especially with the new kickoff rule that's they just implemented. The all-time leading kickoff returner is coming back to where he broke the record there in the Mercedes-Benz Stadium in Week 1. You have to like the storylines, right? Raheem Morris, going up against the guy that he replaced from the team, right? That's pretty much what it's going to be boiled down to. Um, but you gotta love the storylines. That's what it's all about. Can Russell Wilson find his groove back? That he had when he was with the Seattle Seahawks. Definitely going to be able to see that. Or is he going to be looking over his shoulder? For a young Justin Fields out there. So you gotta love the storylines. Going into week 2, Monday Night Football, Atlanta Falcons have not had a primetime game in a while. Had not had a primetime game in a while, but they started the season off back to back primetime games, Monday Night Football, and then the Sunday Night Football. Um, Patrick Mahomes has never played in Mercedes-Benz Stadium, so it's going to be interesting to see him come here. I can't wait to see it. It's going to be exciting, but I love the storylines that the that the NFL creates, and it's just not for the Atlanta Falcons, right? You look at all the storylines. The kickoff game they got Baltimore against the Kansas City Chiefs, right? That was the AFC Championship game. That so anticipated, and now Baltimore got to go to Kansas City and see um, them lower their banner and thing like that, celebrate on their getting their Super Bowl championship. So That's intriguing. You just look around the league, it's a lot of intriguing games. The New York Jets played the San Francisco 49ers the first week of the season on Monday Night Football. So it's so many storylines that the NFL creates, especially in week one. Um, but it's no different for our Atlanta Falcons. They put, you know, the Pittsburgh Steelers week one, Arthur Smith coming back, going up against the guy that replaced him and Raheem Morris. I mean, they could have went with the Minnesota Vikings. You know, we going to Minnesota our first game. Kirk Cousins returning back to Minnesota. That would have been a storyline. So they could have had so many options, but the idea to put Arthur Smith there, you just love the drama, man. We're gonna hear about it all off season. Um, I think us as Falcon fans kind of expect what we're going to get out of Arthur Smith. It's going to try to run the ball. It's no surprise there. Um, and Coach Tomlin is going to have his guys ready to play. It's no going to be no surprises there. Two friends, good friends, Raheem Mars and Coach Tomlin going up against each other. You know, we know about that history that they got. So the storylines the NFL creates is always something that you love to see. Um, and like I said, personally today, I'm not going to get into any predictions. I'm just looking at the schedule. You know, as a fan right now, and not trying to dissect it too much because, like I said, I don't know what to expect from this team right as of yet. Right, new coaching staff, new quarterback, new scheme on offense and defense. I like what we have on paper, right? But like Kirk Cousins said it yesterday in his press conference, not even close. You got to get the chemistry down, bond together, get everything, down before you can say that you're ready to compete in NFL because it is hard to win a game in NFL. So um, it's too early to try to do predictions, especially in the middle of May. But um, I will get my predictions later on this offseason, guys. Just not today. But I love the storylines, man, and that's what it's all about. Um, you said CP signed with us again for real? No, CP signed with the Steelers. He signed with the Steelers. He signed with the Steelers. Um, he said last game is Carolina. Last game is the Commanders. Last game is the Commanders, not Carolina. We played the Washington Commanders the last game of the season. And he said CP signed with us. No, CP signed with the Steelers. So we got to deal with him coming out of the backfield. We just need Calais back, and we'll be hell on ice. That would be great to get a veteran like Calais back. However, I don't think he's going to come back. Matter of fact, I think Calais might announce his retirement here soon. If anything, um, Arthur Smith will not run up to Morris like that unless he wants them be when he said that's a good one. Um, kind of heard the defensive scheme will not change much at all. It's I bet the difference. I think it's going to change a lot. For one thing, if you heard what Jimmy Lake said, the base is going to be a 3-4, right? He was in predominantly 4-3 last year from a base. Now, most defenses now in NFL are hybrid anyway. They have multiple fronts, so you're going to have some four fronts sometimes. So it's not going to always be 3-4, but I think they're going to start off with base. I actually think that works better for some of the pass rushers that you got, like Armor Ebiketie, like a Braden Trice, the guy we drafted in the draft. Um, Lorenzo Carter, I think it works well for him. D'Angelo Malone, I think it works well for him. So going to the 3-4, having those guys stand up instead of having their hand in the ground might work out better for those guys from a pass rush standpoint. So um, I like the fact that they're definitely going to be able to change the defense up a little bit. When you think about the secondary play, it's going to be a little bit more zone. Remember, it was more man to man when we had Ryan Nielsen here. So defense is going to change a lot. The pieces are still there, but the way they deploy those guys is definitely going to change. I anticipate a lot of rotation from a defensive front, especially with the additions they had in the draft. You still got Big Grady and David in the middle there. It'll be interesting to see Eddie Goldman decide to stay too. That's going to be interesting as well. But you know, um, I do think the defense is going to change. You only said Carolina once, I think. Nope. So let me tell you. So we play Carolina week 6. We play at Carolina week 6, and you are correct. I only said them once, so we do play them. Hold on, let me see. How did I miss the Carolina Panthers? We got them in a home game. Uh, I did say the Panthers only once. Week 6, we played Panthers week 6, and then we played them again. Ah, you're correct. I forgot about it's 18 weeks in the season now, right? I don't know what I was thinking about. I started at 17 weeks, but it's 18 weeks in the season. So you are 100% correct. The last game of the season, Carolina come home to the Mercedes-Benz Stadium. So I am completely sorry. I left off the Carolina Panthers, and we played them the last game of the season, not the Commanders. So my bad, my bad. Thanks, Iker. You got me on that one, man. Yep. So we played them week um 6, and then we play them again week 18, and we owe them some payback, right? We definitely owe the Carolina Panthers payback from what they did to us when they had like 25 people in their stands um last year, and that's where they blew the game. So so you gotta love it, guys. And then the last thing I'm gonna talk about, guys, today is just the NFC South, right? When we look at the schedule as a whole, right? Um, and you could be thinking about what the Atlanta Falcons got to do, you know, to get wins and things like that. But what you do have to realize that we just got to win our division, right? And I hate to say it that way, but it's the truth, right? You win a division, you host a home game in the playoffs, which is huge for any team to be able to host that first playoff game, right? Because that's how you get your momentum. You get to host the game, start to put you in the sweet spot. So those are some of the things you definitely get to see. So looking at the Saints, the Saints' first game of the season, they got to play the Panthers in New Orleans, right? Week 2, the Saints play the Cowboys in Dallas. So you see what I'm saying? The schedule for our division opponent is just as hard as us. They play the same opponents. Where we sometimes we play teams at home. They got to go on the road. I'm pretty sure the Saints probably got to go to Kansas City to play the Kansas City Chiefs. Vice, you know, we host the Kansas City Chiefs. So we play the same opponents for the most part, and they might have to go on the road to play the same opponents. So when we're looking at the NFC South, right? Even though most people say it's the easiest schedule, from any division, right? We playing the same opponents for the most part. Then we play each other, right? Only difference is the Tampa Bay Buccaneers will play first place teams. On certain teams they got to play that we won't play, and we will play third place teams. So. Um, that's when you look at the strength of schedule in our division. The Atlanta Falcons have the third easiest schedule in the division, right behind the Carolina Panthers, right? Because we became the third place team in that division. And Atlanta Falcons probably could be the best team in the division. So that's a leg up on us. When you pull back the onion and look at it. But at the end of the day, guys, um, this schedule is going to really be, you know, laid out. We're going to talk about it all throughout. But right now, the only opponent none of the Falcons need to be worried about is the Arthur Smith led Pittsburgh Steelers on the offensive side of the ball. You said the New York Giant game. New York Giant game is at home. It's in week 16. We're playing the New York Giants. Yes, so it is a home game. So we play New York Giants at home. We host the New York Giants. Yep. So only cold game we really got, guys, is that Denver game, which is in week 11, which it could kind of be cold in when you're looking at week 11. So you go into week 11. November 17th. So it's not going to be really cold yet. November 17th is starting to get kind of cold. It could, be a little cold up there by then, but it's not like it's in December and January. So the only cold game that we're going to have is that week 17 game against the Washington Commanders, which is going to be it's going to be cold that week. It definitely is going to be cold. It's in December, so Atlanta Falcons kind of gets a break. They play Philadelphia early in the season, so they don't have to worry about going there. Um, and then the only other cold game that we was going to have was the Denver game, which is November 17th. We played Minnesota in week 14, but that's in the dome, so we won't have to worry about that. Play the Raiders. Um, that's in the dome, but it's in Vegas anyway. So only cold game the Atlanta Falcons got this year will be the Commanders. So, you know, not bad, not bad at all, right? So only cold game that Atlanta Falcons should really be concerned about is that Commanders game up in DC. So not bad at all. But guys, when I'm looking at NFC South, um, winning the division, that's where it starts. That's what Raheem Morris, talked about. You got to win the South, right? That should be the goal, right? It's not the only goal. No, the ultimate goal is, but you got to start somewhere, and you start in your division. Um, if you win that, you one step ahead. I think the conference games are definitely important as well. When you start looking at the conference games, so you know, playing the Eagles, playing the Cowboys, playing the Seahawks, playing the Vikings, right? The Giants, all those games are going to be important, just as much as important in our division games, right? You win your conference games, you win your division games. It puts you in a good spot when they start doing the seeding in the playoffs. So that's what you want. You know, teams you don't see that often, like the Steelers, like the Chiefs, right? You need to just come out and ball, and see what you can get out there. But you want to win those division games and those conference games. Um, that's the way I'm looking at it. Um, but guys, really let me know what you think about the Atlanta Falcons 2024 NFL schedule. Um, I think it's tough to start and it kind of simmer down, towards the middle and the end, right? But the great thing about the schedule is Atlanta Falcons gets tested right away. Might not be what a lot of people want, but I like it because you have to come out laser focused right at the beginning, right? You know that you coming out in the gauntlet, so you want to come out and put your best foot forward right off the bat. Um, Playoff atmosphere, in my opinion, in week one, especially when Arthur Smith coming there playing the Pittsburgh Steelers, we know their fan base is going to come out, turn out, right? But I know from experience, the first game of the season, the Atlanta Falcon fan base is really out there as well. So it should be a good turnout that first game of the season. And man, we got to get that one. When I'm looking at this schedule, the must win for me um, is, of course, the Aints on the 29th, right? Week 4, and then that Pittsburgh game in week 1. Those are must wins for me. We got to win those 2 games. Um, I want to win all 4 of them, but if we can, come out those first 4 weeks 2-2, um, I'll be satisfied with that. And I don't know how you guys feel about that. DQ said the test early, 100% a test, man. Yeah, right off the bat, man. Um, the Steelers, we know what the Steelers bring, so um, we just have to see. I think we might go 10-8 and win the division. 10-8 would be a good record. Good record. Good record. I'm not going to give my predictions yet, though. Not just yet. Our D line can get to, yeah, we're gonna see, man. He said our D line can get to Mahomes, man. Hope so. We're gonna find out. We definitely gonna find out. I think um potentially, like I said, I don't know yet, but I think this team has to had the really opportunity to surprise some teams. One important thing that to note is the primetime games that we got um is big because it lets you know that somebody mentioned earlier that the NFL thinks that this is a pretty good roster. When having a quarterback, because it's all about the quarterbacks. Believe it or not, you guys don't you look at who they put on these schedules and things like that. They usually put a rookie quarterback on there, right? Because everybody wants to see the rookies coming out. So you'll see like Chicago, Caleb Williams has some primetime games because he's number 1 draft pick. But when you look at the top 10 quarterbacks in the league, usually they have primetime games, and so they let you know what they think about the addition of Kirk Cousins to the Atlanta Falcons. And I forgot to talk about our 4th primetime game, and that will be against the Raiders in Week 15. That's a Monday Night Football game as well. So I talked about the 3 primetime games we got at the beginning of the season, but Week 15, the Atlanta Falcons will be on Monday Night Football against the Raiders. So that's our 4th on primetime games. So like I said, going from 0 primetime games to 4 primetime games in one season is just outstanding, and it just speaks to what they think about adding Kirk Cousins to this roster. That's really what it speaks about. So, um, no pressure, Kirk. Come in, off the Achilles and play well. We know Kirk Cousins' record on primetime games. I think he kind of bucked that trend in the last couple of seasons, but um, right off the bat, man, Monday Night Football, Sunday Night Football, Thursday Night Football, right? Then week 15, we play another Monday Night Football game. So, um, really, really, a lot to show from a national standpoint this year. Atlanta Falcons definitely, um, if they can come out and shock some teams, especially in those first 4 weeks, um, and we can shut some people up too, right? About us picking Michael Penix, right? You can already hear the narrative stories. If the Atlanta Falcons come out and struggle in the first 4 weeks, it's going to be because we drafted Michael Penix in the first round and we didn't do something to help Kirk Cousins win. So, be ready for that if that happens. So, guys, that's all I have today. Really enjoy it. Come on here, talk about the schedule. Tune in when we break it down and more. But it's a lot to look at. I know you guys are excited. I know I am. I can't wait to go to some of these games. Um, Definitely be at all the home games. Um, Probably going to end up being at that Week 10 Saints game as well. Um, so um, can't wait. I know you guys can't either. And that's all I have. This is your boy Ricondo coming back at you with another video. Peace.